So it was almost like, oh, there's like a child doing these wedding photos. Oh, look, the child is a good wedding photographer. We should probably book the child as well.
Hey, I'm Dustin.
And I'm Steve. Welcome back to the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast, the finest phototainment in the world. We are an irreverent look at photography. This podcast, like aspirin, will help you recover from your wedding hangover. And today, it's going to be even more helpful because Dustin and I are joined by like an actual expert in the world of photography editing. We're joined today by Ryan Welch from Freedom Edits. Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you guys?
Doing great. A little tired over here, but, you know.
I think we just live in a perpetual state of tired, but...
That's the photography industry way, I feel.
Mm-hmm. It got worse when we had kids, though, but...
Yes.
Terrible decision, if you don't mind. I didn't mean that. I did not mean that.
Do you have kids, Ryan?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
You guys, I can barely look after myself, never mind tiny humans as well.
Yeah. No, neither can we. But we still...
They're still alive and kicking.
Yeah.
So, Ryan, how long have you been shooting photography-wise?
So I shot my first wedding in, I believe, 2009. It's probably just before that. It must have been about 2008, actually, because I started college in 2009, as you guys would say. So, yeah, we're getting into my, 12 years now?
That's awesome.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I shot my first wedding. I didn't even know how old I was. A tiny, tiny baby. And, it kind of spiraled out of control very quickly. And very little of it was planned, which was interesting. Yeah, so you kind of went from shooting a couple of weddings a year to kind of 30, 60, and then a few years ago we launched our associate brand, and we shot about, the most we've ever shot in a year is about 225.
Whoa.
God.
Yeah. So that's why I'm always tired. You guys don't have an excuse, right?
Not at all. Not compared to that, no.
So I assume you're like, wow, I'm editing all of these 225 weddings. Why not bring on other people's wedding photos? Because I don't have enough to do.
Absolutely. What's a few more million a year, right?
Yeah. You're like, no, let's take that a step further and expand that business model to the whole world. Let's not just limit it to here where I am. Let's do everybody.
Why not? Why not? So yeah, and the kind of, I guess the story of shooting that amount of weddings then boils down to why we started Freedom Edits, because we had a need for that service. Couldn't really find what we wanted anywhere else. And then here we go, a few years later. My life is actual insanity sometimes, but I do love every single second.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So when you say 2008 you started, were you like 16 when you started shooting weddings?
Yeah, 16, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, like that.
I was going to say,
yeah.
our friend Raymond Hatfield does a podcast called the Beginner Photography Podcast that you were on.
Yeah.
That was titled like 16-year-old wedding photographer.
Yeah. I wasn't 16 when I did that podcast, just FYI. It was just a few months ago or whatever.
Yeah. So, wow. So you got started really young then. How did you book that first wedding?
So first weddings were very much like family and friends and all that kind of stuff, right? You know, it was definitely people that I knew. And then I think we talked about this on Raymond's podcast, actually, about the fact that, you know, like for a 16-year-old, I was probably like a decent photographer. You know, like I was getting good pictures. They were edited fairly well. And I think it was almost, so like there would be, say, 100 guests at the wedding, right? And all day they'd be like, who's this kid running around with the camera? And then they'd see the pictures afterwards on Facebook or whatever, because obviously I was dead into social media. So at the time, my marketing was a lot of social media marketing. And they would actually be surprised by how good the pictures were for the kid that was running around at the wedding. So it was almost like, oh, there's like a child doing these wedding photos. Oh, look, the child is a good wedding photographer. We should probably book the child as well. Like, I think there was an element of kind of comedic value there somewhere, I think.
So you're like a novelty photographer.
I think so, yeah. I'm always willing to provide entertainment, mate. That's what I'm all about. And it kind of just went from there, and then those friendship circles kind of expanded, and you shoot friends of friends, and the prices slowly crept up, and things got a little bit out of hand. I was shooting like 40, 50 weddings a year myself and trying to do all the post-production, started bringing in team members. And we kind of just grew, not so much organically, I guess at that point. It was very much a forced growth because we needed to. But we definitely grew with intention. Grew because I knew I wanted a business that would really challenge me, would really challenge my skills. That's what I set out to do, and I certainly succeeded in that element.
Yes, you did.
So when you went to university, were you studying photography, or what were you studying in university?
Yeah, so I actually did a photography for fashion and advertising course, which one of the biggest wastes of money I've probably ever committed to in my entire life. I had you have a lot of fun as university allows you to. That element was fantastic, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I really wouldn't. But in terms of photography knowledge and how to build a photography business, I can safely say that I learned absolutely nothing from that. Yeah. I mean, I hope my uni lecturers aren't listening to this, because I'm sure they'll be very offended. But I'm sure they won't be. I'm sure they won't.
They didn't have like a money back guarantee on that program for you?
I don't think so. Maybe I should look into that. Maybe this kind of complaints procedure I can follow.
It was because it was just a year ago, right, that you graduated university?
So I graduated in 2012.
So last year, yeah.
Yeah. Last year. Yeah, it has flown by. It has been an interesting period since graduation. A lot has happened.
So Ryan, are you still shooting, or are you just editing now, or what's a day in the life of Ryan look like?
So I'm still shooting. This is my final year of shooting, though. So obviously these are weddings that I've had booked for about 12 to 18 months now. And I made the decision to kind of stop shooting around that time, so I didn't take any more work on. So I think I've got about 27, 28 weddings to shoot this year. And as a company, I think we're doing like about 100 and something. So the photo side is being kind of intentionally wound down, I guess, which is a decision that I made fairly recently, so that I'm able to just focus solely on the editing side. Freedom Edits kind of was launched and grew so quickly that kind of like we couldn't manage the growth initially, and that's something that we did struggle with in the first couple of years. But we've really got a hold on that now, and we're growing at a really kind of like nice, manageable pace. So I think it's a really good time now for me to kind of inject kind of everything I've got into that side and see where we can take it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So then, how long have you been doing Freedom Edits for?
So we started in 2016, Freedom Edits.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was June 2016.
Okay. And
so we're coming up to 4 years now, actually, yeah. Jeez.
So what was the process of going from we shoot a bunch of weddings, like 225 a year, to we want to edit a bunch of other people's weddings? What was that like for you as like a mental change?
Yeah. I don't know if it was really a mental change or whether it was a change of circumstances, as in I needed to find Freedom Edits. I needed to find that company, but there wasn't a company out there that could A, manage our volume, and be consistent enough with managing that volume. Like we went through all the options at the time. You know, we did trials with a ton of different so I'm being really careful not to name drop here. It's really difficult.
No, you can go ahead and name drop. We love that here.
It might be a little awkward for me. We went and kind of did a few tests with a ton of different companies, and there was like parts we loved about some and parts we hated about others. And we kind of just needed to merge all that together. So in the end, we ended up just hiring a few editors and then offering that out to photographers that we knew and kind of that were in our community as a service to help us kind of like recoup some of the cost of hiring those people, I guess. And then from there, that's really where Freedom began. And then it kind of just scaled out kind of as we grew. Like the support and that overwhelming initial, like, oh my God, I've been looking for this service and I haven't been able to find it somewhere. Like when people sign up, we do an onboarding consultation, which is a video call with them where they run through all their preferences. They show us how they edit with like a screen share on a Zoom call. All these things that people wanted, but they were having to like fill out a questionnaire on a website. Mm-hmm. We kind of solved that problem for them, I guess. And they were able to really communicate as much or as little as they wanted with our account handlers at the time that would kind of like input all their preferences into our database and stuff. So just because of that, like our referrals, and still to this day, like the main reason we grow every year is because of referrals based on customer satisfaction, I guess, and kind of how that entire experience that we give them from first that initial inquiry on the website through to the video call and then obviously receiving final orders back.
Mm-hmm. Wow. My curiosity is piqued on the logistical side of things. So like right now, currently as Freedom Edit stands, how many photographers do you service? Or if it's an easier number, like how many weddings on average per week do you guys typically edit?
So it's hard to give a number like per week because it's so seasonal. Kind of like September through to November are probably our busiest periods. And we were editing a couple of million images a month.
Jeez.
In those periods.
So how many editors do you guys have, or is it just you and Jake?
It's not just me and Jake. You said that, and I felt the dread in my stomach. I felt the pitch in my stomach.
Just Ryan and Jake banging out a few million edits every month. Don't worry about it.
I just picture you walking around
I'd have
with like
way
a
more
headset.
money if that was the case.
Just picture you walking around with like a headset on constantly with like some sort of like hand, like controls, and you're just like walking into coffee shops, walking into restaurants. Hold on. Got to get through these ceremony shots real quick, and you're just constantly editing.
Yeah, I can see myself in that Britney Spears kind of mic get-up. I do agree. Mm-hmm. I think that would be a great look for me.
And maybe like a Britney Spears jumpsuit as well, or what are we thinking there?
Yeah, the one, the Toxic video, the one with all the sequins on, like the nude color with all the 100%. I'm living for every second of that. Yeah,
you could send us over a photo of you in that. Would like to use that for the cover art of the podcast episode.
Yeah, we'll try my best to make that happen.
Perfect. That's all we ask.
I'm sure they will. Sorry, what was your question? How many editors, right?
Yeah.
Question. Yeah. So we ended last year on, I think, 78 full-time editors.
Wow.
Yeah. And obviously there's a lot of support staff that work around those 78 people as well, in terms of just like downloading stuff.
You kind of have surpassed small business. You are now like medium business.
I guess so. Yeah, I've never actually thought about that. Yeah. It's honest, I kind of just take each day as it comes these days. And I drink a lot of vodka.
I was waiting to hear coffee come out of your mouth, and then it was like, I drink a lot of vodka.
We surpassed coffee a good few years ago now.
You got to get the Red Bull and the vodka, so you stay loose and creative from the alcohol and energized from the Red Bull. It's a perfect mix if you want to die early.
Yeah.
So you were saying before we started recording that Jake and you just recently found out you guys are second cousins. How did you guys meet each other?
Okay, so just to clarify, Jake is my business partner with Freedom Edit. We started Freedom.
Not your life partner, just your business partner.
Not my life partner. No, his wife. We did try, but his wife was really not very happy about the situation. His kids were very confused. It was not a good idea. So me and Jake, me and Jake had photography businesses at the same time. So we were both out shooting weddings, and then we actually merged our companies together. And I could not tell you offhand what year that was. I have no idea. But I think probably like 2010 or something. No, 2012, 13, something like that. So Jake kind of merged his business into mine because I was shooting more weddings at the time, so he kept my brand. And then we kind of grew the business and then launched Freedom as a result of that later on. So we found out, so our parents are actually, that they were friends, and then they were kind of like at a party or something and said, oh, like both our sons are into photography, they should meet. We met at like a Subway, had a Meatball Marinara sub, which is obviously the one. And then kind of we had like a relationship from there, you know, like we were out shooting together, we were doing stuff. He was doing a bit of editing for me when I needed it. Cause Jake's a few years younger than I am. Mm-hmm. So, and then randomly at one point I was chatting to my dad and he said, oh, you do know, like me and Jake's dad are cousins. And I was like, no, like, why have you never told me this before? Like, why is that a secret that has been kept? But yeah, me and Jake are second cousins, and we had absolutely no idea, which was very strange. But so there we go.
Family reunions, and you like both randomly show up, and you're like, "Are you shooting this? No, this is my family. Wait, no, this is my family."
Mm-hmm. We both have huge families, so we'd actually never met before because like families aren't really that close because they're so big. So we literally never see each other at family stuff either.
You guys don't in the UK do the thing where like huge families have like reunions and they all get together and somebody buys them all shirts that say like Welch family reunion on it or something? Is that a thing?
That happened, I would not go. I'm truly terrifying.
So, I mean, after hearing kind of like the story of how you and Jake met, what I really want to know is, can you tell us everything about this Meatball Marinara sub? Because it sounds like it changed your life.
Yeah, no, it did. You got to go Italian herbs and cheese. And, like, you know when they ask you if you want it toasted? Like, who's ever said no to that question? Like, that is not, like, of course I want it toasted, and of course I want the cheese melted. Duh. And that's what I have. That's it. Salad? Absolutely not. You are ruining everything about my day if you put a salad on that Meatball Marinara sub.
So I think what you're saying is Subway should be posing the question, do you not want it toasted?
I think that may be more efficient.
Okay.
I think, maybe we should.
Steven and I are pretty tight with the owners of Subway, so we'll put in a note for you.
Yeah, no, let's really get down to business. This is why we really wanted you on, Ryan. We're going to fix Subway right now. Just the three of us together. We're gonna knock this out.
If we could help fix their business. Yeah. And here we are.
So Subway pizza, Jared, let's get into it.
It's been sort of a train wreck.
Oh, Dustin, why would you bring that up?
Sorry.
It's like when they bought out the salad bowl. Who's going to Subway for a salad bowl?
People who aren't doing carbs, Ryan. People who aren't doing carbs.
Says Dustin is someone who frequently is like, I'm doing a new diet where I'm giving up carbs this month.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it, bud.
And then Steven comes to visit, and I throw the diet out the window.
How it goes. He turns up on the door with a loaf of bread, and
he waves that baguette at me, and I'm just easy.
Ooh, ease off that French stick.
Oh, enough about my baguette, guys. Come on. Making me blush over here. So I was just kind of curious. You said that your photography business kind of like quickly ramped up when you started doing associate stuff to like 225 weddings a year. And you also said at the beginning when you first started, you're just doing mostly social media marketing. So how did you take like your 20, 30, 40 weddings a year, and when you started doing like the associate weddings, kind of move to like 225? Was that still just like all word of mouth and social, or were you doing anything else like Facebook or Google ads or something?
Mm-hmm. So the majority of our work has always come from referrals. We have a really good reputation in our like local area, and I guess the area we live in is fairly like populated. Like there's a couple of cities, and I guess we kind of just got in with some really good friendship groups, like the It Girls, and like those girls with like a big friendship group. And then kind of like word just kind of spreads. Like how word of mouth marketing works. So that probably got us to about 100 weddings a year. Like we were able to schedule about 100, and then we really plateaued then. And that's then when we started bringing out Facebook ads. And like we did have sales teams, members of staff. Sales, I can't say that properly. I have no idea why. Sales team, I guess would be the term. So we had like 2 girls who were just focused on sales at that point to get us to that 200 wedding mark. So there was a ton of Facebook ads, there was email funnels, like all that kind of stuff. We were spending a lot of money to get us there. So it definitely, like that growth didn't happen by accident, and it didn't happen by word of mouth. Like I said, we got to about 100 weddings with word of mouth. But then from there, it was some more bridal shows and big bridal shows. Like the big ones with a couple of thousand people. We did a couple of those, which meant we were booking weddings all over kind of the south of the UK as well. So we were doing a lot of weddings that were quite far away, really, which weren't really ideal for us. And the business model we had at the time, like our associate model, they didn't really want to travel for the weddings, but that was kind of becoming a requirement. There wasn't really a big enough industry around here to support the kind of growth that we wanted to see if we wanted to stay local, which is also one of the reasons why I've decided to kind of like scale the photo side of it down. Yeah.
So when you talk about scaling the photo side of it down, are you going to shoot anything next year?
So I'm going to have, I'm going to do a year off shooting and then kind of reassess then. I think it's really strange, but like my dad thinks I'm absolutely crazy that I'm stopping shooting weddings, because obviously like how am I ever going to make any money by editing other people's images? Because I obviously don't know what I'm doing. So I just think people just think I've been shooting because of my age. I think people think that I'm way newer to weddings than I probably am. Like I've been shooting weddings for like 12 years now. And I think everybody experiences a bit of burnout after that amount of time. Like that's a lot of weddings. It's a lot of, shitty wedding coordinators to deal with. And it's a lot of vendor meals to eat. And it's a lot of like Uncle Bob's have to push out of my way so I can get my shots because it's all about me.
These are all true facts.
It's all very true. Yeah, and I'm kind of just ready for a break now, if I'm completely honest. It'll be really nice to kind of just take a year and be able to do like birthday parties with friends and drink and sociable hours will be really nice as well. All those kind of things.
At first I thought you meant photograph birthday parties, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting kind of, lateral move from weddings. Just really want to get into that birthday photo market.
Yeah, that would be truly terrifying. It would be like the worst part of a wedding, but that was the only part of the job.
Yep. So when you think of the worst part of a wedding, you're thinking the reception? Is that what I'm hearing?
Dance floor. Yeah, I hate dance floor. Because it just makes me really sad that I can't have as much fun as some of the people on the dance floor are having. I mean, like, occasionally I do, but I just feel like you're never really in the headspace unless you're a guest,
Yeah.
You're seeing like 100 people. I won't put my tie around my head sometimes, It's not acceptable.
So just do it. Be the change. Be the change. Did we freeze, Steve?
It dropped out for me for a while there.
Me too.
I think we're back.
So you wish you could party more at weddings. You're young, you're still social, you have friends, you know how to talk to people. These are all things I don't experience. I would much rather shoot a wedding than have to like dance or interact with people at a wedding. I'm not great at that kind of stuff. I'm more like a one-on-one sort of conversation guy. I'm not like a big group conversation sort of guy. So when you said the worst part is the reception because you want to dance and get out there, I was like, oh, I don't feel that at all.
I'm always the first on the dance floor. Every single time.
Every single time.
Somebody's got to beat the bride and groom out there,
Absolutely.
Do you ever, so is it a thing in the UK like it is in the US where it's like nobody's supposed to dance until the bride and groom dance?
Yeah, well, it very much is, but I do have a very like particular bride and groom, and we'll kind of just say that they're very fun. Like they like half of the wedding is always drunk by like 3 p.m. and it's always a very good atmosphere at the wedding. So a lot of the time, like before the bride and groom do their first dance, like the dance floor is full and we have to like physically move 50 or 60 drunk people off the dance floor to make space for the bride and groom. But yeah, that's the telling trait of what I call a Ryan Welch wedding. Yeah. Chaos. Yeah, they're real fun.
Chaos.
Yeah.
I love it.
General chaos. But they truly are one of a kind, and I love every single one of them. Like they're all mental, and that is my favorite. They're amazing.
Do you find you kind of thrive on the chaos? Is that something you enjoy, or?
I absolutely do. I think the chaos is the only reason I've carried on. You know, like I love that atmosphere on a wedding day. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. I love that like buzz, the pressure, the excitement. That is right up my street.
Is that kind of a motivating force for you too, with like the explosive growth of your businesses? Is you kind of thrive in this like, I don't know exactly how to solve this problem, but I want to figure it out sort of?
Oh yeah. That is like my happy place. Is we have like a million problems and we need to solve them all, and I will work until I die to solve all those things. That is.
But I assume that the problems are a little bit more, not so much manageable, but less stressful when you walk in and you're like, iMac number 32's color calibration is off by 10%. Let's get this fixed. Versus, we can't find the wedding rings. It's got to be, you know.
Do you know what? If you'd have asked me, if you just said that in November this year in one of our busiest weeks, I would have said, actually, no. I feel like the iMac being off calibration is worse. But like an iMac out of operation for a day is, you know, fatal. The wedding rings we can do without.
So now do you have to like keep spare iMacs laying around?
Yeah, we always have about 5 just sat there. So everyone, my Facebook Messenger is just constantly full of people that I know that like buy and sell iMacs fairly regularly. Like every time they have an iMac to sell, they just message me and we normally buy it. It works really well, yeah. But we have like, I don't even know how many 2012 iMacs I've bought over the last 3-4 years. Like it must be
2012. Why 2012?
They're the ones that are easiest to fix and they're easiest to upgrade that model.
Okay.
I think. Oh, no, 2011.
Last time my last iMac before this one that I just bought and I'm working on right now for this interview was a 2011, and it was the one where like you just get like some suction cups, put them on the screen, and you can pull the screen off real easy, and then you can swap out hard drives and RAM and everything like that inside.
This is the one you buy.
Yeah.
Is it 2011? Yeah. Yeah, it's like easy to like switch out SSDs and all that kind of stuff in them. So they're our preferred workhorse at the moment. And then we've got some real like beastie PCs that we've had built for kind of exporting, and because we've got some like bigger clients that do like 400, 500, 600 weddings a year as well that we work with. Mm-hmm. And then kind of we need that kind of power to export all this stuff.
Yeah. So did you guys invest in any the new Mac Pros when they came out?
No. I don't. We're at that budgetary level just yet.
You didn't want to drop like 60,000 on a Mac Pro?
We would have been running like, and even if we did, they'd be running on like $100 Samsung monitors or something. You know, like. But you can see it. It's fine. Yeah. No, we're in terms of tech, we're pretty frivolous. Is that the right word? Because I'm trying to use a word that I don't know, and I might have just used it wrong. But yeah, we're pretty tight with the budget on the electronic stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we try to be anyway.
I did hear that you guys are getting into editing video now.
Yeah, so we do, the video editing is a slightly different beast altogether. And it's a beast that on the production, I manage a lot of the photo production side myself. But the video production stuff, I very much completely keep out of because I know very, very little about it. I kind of just buy things when people tell me to buy things. And that is, I think that's how it's always going to be because I cannot get my head around the specs of those machines. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the video side. So we launched video back in January last year, so January 2019. And the video side was really strange because we offered video with my associate team, and obviously we were never able to outsource the video anywhere, our video edits, just because we just couldn't find anywhere to do it. All the companies were based in India or the Philippines, or if they were US based, they were just too expensive for us to pay, because obviously our wedding budgets in the UK are slightly different as well. So yeah, we always managed our own video editing in-house. And so I knew people needed it, and I knew there was definitely a solution there that we could do, but I just wasn't sure whether videographers would actually outsource their edits. But it turns out that they absolutely wanted to, and we were completely inundated when we launched it back in 2019. We're expecting to see insane growth this year. We're going to start doing some video conferences. We've never run a video Facebook ad for Freedom to advertise what we do. I think we put it on Instagram about 3 times last year. And we were pretty much at capacity the entire year. So yeah, this year is definitely the year that we grow the video side as well. And I'm just hoping that we can kind of alleviate that pressure off a lot of videographers, because I feel like the videography community is so much less well served than the photography industry. There's such fewer companies out there designed to help videographers manage their workload and all that kind of stuff. I think the photography industry is so big and it's so inundated with photographers that it's incredibly well served. So one of our missions this year is to really push through and kind of get in touch with as many videographers as possible.
Nice.
That sounds like an interesting challenge.
It is. Yeah. It is a challenge. And I think one of the biggest challenges for me as the owner of this company, and Jake to a degree as well, is that, we aren't videographers, so we seek a lot of advice and kind of instruction from, the clients, people that we built relationships with who are videographers in terms of what they want the service to look like and how it would work. So we've kind of got all that stuff ironed out now. And yeah, it's just amazing to me that we're able to grow a team of people that can just open up a folder of 100 gigabytes of footage or 200 gigabytes or whatever it is, hours and hours of filming that they weren't at the event, but they're able to create this stunning 12-minute video that looks as though that videographer edited it. Getting to that point was a huge deal, and so much work went into that from our entire team that I'm just so proud of them and so thankful for all of the support we've had. It's amazing. They do a great job.
Did you guys decide to transition into doing more video because did you find a lot of the photographers who were working with you were starting to do video, or was it just you also saw videographers out there?
I think initially it was very much that we were at WPPI in Las Vegas a few years ago when we first exhibited there. And I'm awful with dates. I will not be able to tell you the year that was. So we were out there and we were speaking to a few videographers, and a lot of videographers were there just because there wasn't the equivalent for the video industry. Mm-hmm. So they were at a photography conference. A lot of the stuff wasn't really relevant to them, but they were kind of mooch around, and we'd bump into them on a trade show floor, and they'd be like, "Oh, actually, I'm actually a videographer. Oh, I'd love if something like this existed for my industry for me to send my films to." And that was where the initial thought came from. But now, actually, funny you should bring that up, is that a lot of our clients on the video side are photographers that were existing clients, wanted to shoot video, but had no interest in learning how to edit it, wanting to edit it.
Mm-hmm.
So now when we launched it, they kind of just started shooting some video last year, like in with their photo packages or whatever it was, because they knew that they could just send it to us and it would be edited. And it would also be edited in a very similar style to what their photo edits look like. So we're able to really maintain that consistency across the two products, which is really interesting. And I think it's real beneficial for them as well.
That's, yeah. My wife and I do photo and video, and like visual consistency between the two is always very difficult. And Dustin also does photo and video as well. So I know he struggles with that as well.
Yeah, I know one of my friends is actually just sent or is sending an edit your way. So I'm excited to see how that looks.
Proof's in the pudding, right?
just put a star next to his name. Make it look not as good, since he's technically direct competition for me. So
you send me an email, buddy. Anything for you.
Perfect.
We'll put the wrong speeches in there or something.
Just have someone dub over, like, the toast in a different language or something.
No problem at all. That's absolutely manageable.
Perfect.
I'll just turn up in the middle in my Britney Spears.
That would be it. Yeah, green screen yourself into that. Yeah. Like, what was Ryan doing at that reception?
Having fun,
Britney
partying.
Spears. Ties around his head.
He jumped on the dance floor before the couple. God, so inconsiderate.
So inconsiderate.
How inconsiderate.
So I do have one other question. So you guys employ, I think you said something like 78 people full time, right? Editors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What sort of issues do you run into? Whoa, sorry, that's my daughter in the background for a second. She's very energetic. What sort of issues do you guys run into with your editors, as far as like RSI issues, astigmatism, burnout, stuff like that? And how are you guys solving for that kind of stuff?
Yeah, everyone has really regular breaks. And we do leave it up to them, like when and how they take them. We're not particularly stringent. We don't like ring a bell, right? And everyone goes to break.
Potty time.
Yeah. Everyone line up at the toilet. We kind of let them do their own thing, but we definitely promote a safe working environment. We use like special chairs and stuff like that. A lot of our editors do work remotely, so a lot of them are from home. So a lot of the responsibility at that point is on them to provide that equipment for themselves. So it does definitely vary, but we're always up for. One of our biggest challenges, I guess, in employing that amount of people is just the day-to-day management of stuff like holiday requests and all that kind of admin. Is the we don't have like a HR team, right? We're not really at that position where we can right now. So me and Jake still manage a lot of that stuff ourselves, which is very time consuming, but we muddle through. We get there.
So is that a goal for like moving forward, like looking into investing in more like HR and more like corporate sort of stuff?
Like, I guess so. It's definitely on the roadmap for this year. It kind of just depends what kind of numbers we get to in terms of editors. I think we've scheduled out when we hit 100 full-time employees, that it would be at that point that we would bring in like a HR member of staff to kind of help manage the logistics. Yeah. It like the tech side is easy in terms of like scheduling orders to editors and making sure like checks are done and the QC is there, and that side of it is easy in comparison to the actual dealing with the people that are doing the stuff, right? And they're the backbone of the business. But that is such an important element to us that A, it's very expensive, and also B, like our relationships with those people are incredibly important to us. And right now, because we started from the beginning of kind of like dealing with those things, in my head, the difficult thing now is like taking that step back while still having those people not think that we don't want to just deal with them as people, right? Like that's a big issue for me right now, and kind of something that I'm personally working through. Making sure people still like me.
Just come to work with that tie around your head. I think that would open all new doors for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've been going for a pretty long time now. Do you want to do some random Facebook questions with us?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's do some Q&A.
But Steve...
So we've been waiting to get somebody from the UK for this question for a while now because we have no experience with this sort of thing. But so Brian from a random Facebook group asked, "Hey guys, weird one. I'm filming a traditional Irish Druidic wedding. Nothing fancy, usual traditional stuff, wedding potato, bride throwing, etc. But I'm concerned as it's in a fairy fort. As I'm sure most of you know, there's lots of problems with setting up on sites like this, and I was wondering what's the best way to work in a space like this without having the camera be too obtrusive and or unsettling the local fairy inhabitants."
There were like 30 words in that question that you used that I had absolutely no idea what they meant. But I think, just like covering yourself in glitter to not upset the fairies is probably my top tip. Yeah. Perfect. Maybe the Britney costume again. I feel like it's been a running theme, but that seems very fairy-like and very apt.
Are fairies a large concern in the UK?
Oh, absolutely. It's like people are scared about going to Australia because of the big snakes and stuff. Mm-hmm. That is the fear in the UK, is that the giant fairies are going to get you.
But big snakes exist, right? Do big fairies exist?
Yeah, they absolutely.
I thought they were called leprechauns in the UK.
We have all of them. All of the things.
Have you ever shot at a fairy fort or
fairy? No, I've never shot a fairy.
Mm-hmm.
That's illegal here.
They're endangered species.
Yeah, an enchanted animal. Did you ask if I've ever shot at a fairy fort before?
Yeah, have you ever shot at a place that people think fairies live at or inhabit?
No, and I've never heard of anybody even thinking that fairies inhabit a land, so I have no idea. Maybe it's an Irish thing. I don't know.
What about a wedding potato? What is that?
That's got to be an Irish thing.
Not a clue.
Maybe that's just another term for like the bride's mom. Like the mother of the bride. Call her a wedding potato.
Wow, Dustin. Wow.
You should definitely try that at your next wedding and let us all know how that goes.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect.
Put it in the Facebook group.
Absolutely.
Maybe do like a live video as you ask it to.
Sure. Hi, mother of the bride. Do you mind if I call you wedding potato the rest of the day? I hear in the UK it's all the rage.
It's all the rage, darling.
All right.
I think that would go well. I think that could really work in your favor. It'd be like a real big USP for you.
Mm-hmm. Brandy from a random Facebook group asked the following. I sent my photos off to an editor, and when they came back, every time there was a mirror, I could see myself in the reflection. I don't remember seeing myself in any mirrors on the day. What's up with that?
Oh, like every editing company, it's like an industry standard. We just Photoshop you into all the pictures.
That's what I assume.
Doesn't everyone know that?
So there's like a conference
the website
that all the editing companies go to.
We just made a decision one day. Yeah.
If you look
Everyone was over my house. They were all there, and we just thought, why wouldn't you do this? This is a genius idea.
If you look really closely at all the glass votives for the candles on the tables, all the wine glasses, there's a little reflection of the photographer in every single one of those as well. Yeah, the editing company just goes and throws it in. They distort it to fit the shape of the glass. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a piece of you in every photograph. You can officially say that to your clients then. Mm-hmm. A little piece of me is in every single photograph. That is our main goal.
So I think what you're trying to say is, Brandy, you need to take this a step further. You're only looking in the mirrors. We put you in every photograph.
Yeah.
So if anything, you're not appreciating all of the work we did.
No, she isn't, and she's paid for that work as well. I think Brandy should be more thankful. I just want this is a joke question, right? I don't really know what's happening right now.
These are just random questions people ask on Facebook and different Facebook groups that I'm in, and we just try to surface these and bring them to the light for everybody to see.
So you have, requested random questions. You've actually found legitimate.
Yeah. I don't know anybody
of the bucket.
Nobody in our podcast Facebook group asks questions like the ones we find. These are mostly taken from a bunch of different groups that are a lot of times newer photographers, and sometimes just people with cultural differences who don't maybe understand what they're saying. Maybe they use Google Translate to put everything into English before they threw it on Facebook or something. I'm not 100% certain. I'm just making guesses as to where some of this stuff can come from.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I feel better or worse now about the questions. That's where I'm at right now.
We just do our best to try to answer these questions for these people who may or may not ever listen.
We're just like the news. The questions
Fake.
come in, we just get them out.
Which one of you is Jennifer Aniston? Have you seen that new The Daily Show, is it called?
Clearly Reese Witherspoon. Come on.
Oh, yeah. I see that. I see that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would prefer to be Jennifer Aniston, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you there.
You're Steve Carell. You're Steve Carell.
Steve Carell.
Damn it. Steve Carell.
Okay. If I gotta. Jack from a random Facebook group asks, posted a few photos yesterday, and some guy edited and reposted his edited version in the comments of my photo post. I asked why he did that, and he just said that he likes that editing style better. I'm not sure if I'm being overdramatic, but I told him I would have preferred for him to ask if he could edit my photos first. Is that being overdramatic?
I feel like this person might have a little bit too much time on their hands. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I guess what is the guy who asked this question? What was the name?
Jack.
Yeah, I don't care for Jack.
I mean, he's got a little bit of extra time on his hands to be posting about this in a random Facebook group. If he had a lot of extra time on his hands, he'd have a podcast like me and Dustin.
And it would just be, don't edit my photos.
Yeah.
But I do agree that maybe the guy shouldn't have edited Jack's pictures without asking Jack, or Jack asking for the pictures to be edited in the original post. Whether he's being over dramatic, I think, he might be, but the internet is a very over dramatic place.
I'm actually digging through the Facebook post right now. Oh, wow. So the person who actually edited Jack's photo, his name's Ryan Welch, and he included a thing at the bottom that said, if you like this edit, come to Freedom Edits for more great work. That's crazy. Yeah. You doing some guerrilla marketing?
That's our biggest marketing strategy of 2020. We're just going to edit JPEGs off Facebook, compressed images, and then just repost them and see what happens.
underneath the existing photo on their business Facebook page.
Yeah, we're really trying to break into the retail market. We edit JPEGs now as well, so that brides and grooms can just request edits through us.
Yeah, I'd be like, unhappy with your photographer's edits?
Yeah,
come to us, where we will free you of those edits at Freedom Edits.
Just go ahead and download those JPEGs from that sneak peek your photographer posted on Facebook. Send them straight to us, and we'll fix them up for you. Don't worry about it.
You just need to screenshot them on your phone and then just send them over. Send them to me on Facebook Messenger, and I'll sort them right out.
Did you guys ever get anything like that when you were first starting out?
Yeah, we do. We still get it.
Oh my God. You respond to that?
Yeah, like, oh, I don't like the edits my wedding photographer did. Can you fix them? No. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. We don't give them very much time, if I'm completely honest.
Do you then just refer them in your like automated email system to your photography brand? You're like, well, if you'd like shots redone, here is our photography brand.
No, but I'm gonna make an email funnel for that right now.
There you go.
Wait, you're stepping back from photography. What are you doing?
Sorry, it's just the thought of all those birthday parties I could shoot. It's really got me pumped.
See? It's a lot of candles.
So one more random Facebook question, and then we'll wrap everything up. Grant from a random Facebook group asked, honest question. What do you dark and moody editors do when you get a subject with bad skin texture / color?
You just put the exposure all the way down until you can't see it.
Perfect.
And then just bring the clarity down all the way as well. It doesn't have to clarity, minus 4 stops of exposure, minus 80 blacks. It's like a movie, baby. And you just like pop the highlights a bit. The highlight, and then you can kind of see like a silhouette. It works well.
And then apply to all.
Yeah. Like Command A, sync, check all, done.
Done.
Your photos.
I love this. So, just curious, when Freedom Edits first started, were you ever editing photos for like the photographers who were hiring Freedom Edits, or have you always been in more of a management position?
This is an actual question now, right?
Yeah, I just suddenly got very curious right at the end of the show. Sorry.
I was really trying to think of like something witty to say then, but it wasn't working. Well, there's been a couple of times that I've had to like call a wedding, like when we first started and we got really busy. But I've never actually, I've edited like 2 weddings, I think, for clients ever. That was my biggest thing. Like when we started Freedom was that, yeah, let's do it. But I'm never editing the photos. I couldn't get into that on top of, because like at the time we were shooting like 200 weddings a year as well, right? And there was just no way that I could manage actually editing people's stuff as well. There has been the odd time where we've been like in a bit of a pinch or whatever, or close to a deadline, or so we've had a few clients where they've been ill, and you know, like that kind of situation, they need stuff back quickly where we've helped out. But yeah, in terms of, I've never been an editor as such for Freedom. No.
How long after you started your business before you started before you stopped doing your own edits?
In the photography business, right?
Yeah.
About 4 years, maybe. So when I graduated uni in 2012, I'd had my business 3 years then. I kind of graduated and was pretty much a full-time photographer as soon as I graduated. So I was shooting all throughout uni. And then that kind of following summer is when I started outsourcing my work, and then really saw that kind of lack of QC, I guess, you know, like I just couldn't get the outcome that I wanted and that my clients deserved, and decided to kind of like, then we decided to kind of create that company ourselves, and that's where Freedom came from. Yeah.
Oh, it's so awesome. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today and talking to us. If people want to find out more about you or more about Freedom Edits, where should they go online?
Yeah, so the best place to find us is probably our website. That's where you're going to see like pricing info and kind of how the whole system works. And that would be www.freedomedits.com. That's EDITS, freedomedits.com. And you can also find us on Instagram at Freedom Edits. Pretty simple.
Nice. So you guys actually got the .com for Freedom Edits? You didn't have to go for like a .co.uk or something like that?
No, we were, I think we've got the .co.uk as well, I think. But yeah, we managed to get the .com. I mean, like, to be completely honest, about 90% of our user base, like our customers, are US based.
So yeah, what you're saying is US customers are more lazy. So that's why the UK people are like, I can edit my own stuff. I don't need help.
I think what I'm trying to say is the US customers value their time more.
Oh,
it's smarter photographers in the US, I think.
Okay.
It definitely has nothing to do with just more people living in the US than the UK. That's not a part of it at all.
Absolutely not. Our customers are just incredibly intelligent.
Yeah, see?
Are you coming to imaging this year?
No, so we're not doing imaging, but we're going to... do you guys know Devin Robinson? He's doing Creative Summit in Orlando.
Not familiar, no.
Creative Summit. Yeah, so that's actually next week. So I'm flying over to Florida for that. And then going to San Francisco from there to do Evolve.
Oh,
which will be really cool. Another workshop.
Just had Jamie Findlay on to talk about it.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, her episode should go up later today.
Oh, amazing. I'll have to listen to that. So we're going to Evolve then, and then I come back, and we're doing Hybrid as well. Do you know Hybrid Conference?
No.
So we're exhibiting at that as well, which is Julie Paisley's workshop, her conference. What else will we this year? Loads of places. We're doing WPPI as well. We'll be at WPPI. So yeah, all over the place, doing a load of conferences.
Are most of your guys' clients at Freedom Edits wedding photographers, or do you guys do other sorts of photography editing?
Yeah, they're mostly wedding photographers. We do have a lot of people who send us family shoots and portrait sessions, but they typically come to us for their weddings, and then they'll just send over the family stuff as a result of that. In fact, I think we've got a handful of customers that are portrait photographers, but yeah, it's mostly wedding photographers. And we're actually doing a lot in terms of video editing. We're doing way more like commercial corporate video editing than we thought we would be, which has been really interesting shift actually. And I think for our editors especially, it's quite nice to kind of like break up in between the weddings, like doing some corporate stuff and doing some working on some different projects, which they really enjoyed. So yeah, keep it coming.
Oh man, that's awesome. So I think that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been really awesome talking with you.
Awesome, guys. Thank you. I'll see you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye now. Bye.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast. If you love the show, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. If you want to connect, we're at Wedding Photo Hangover on Instagram. Dustin is on Instagram at Dustin_McKibben. Shoot, I think I might have clipped. No, that's just Signal. Okay, cool. Sorry. I'm using a new interface. Sorry.
I can tell. You sound totally different.
Good different, bad different?
I wouldn't say bad different.
Okay.
Just different.
If you want to join the awesome community of listeners that contribute to the show every week, join the Wedding Hangover Facebook group. If you want to help us keep this podcast alive, though, head over to StephenDustinSaveTheWorld.com and you can sign up to support the podcast for as little as $1 a month. On top of the benefit of knowing you're keeping a good show going, because we got a good show going here, right, people? You also get the benefit of extra content. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time your head is pounding, your limbs feel like dead weight, and your entire being aches for the sweet embrace of death. That's right. Next weekend after you shoot another wedding.
Another wedding. Dun, dun, dun. That was fun. That was good.
So you say I sound totally different with my new gear.
Yes.
Because like I recorded stuff, played it back to like test out, and I could not tell a difference personally.
I have like super ears. I can hear the most finite changes and differences and nuances.
Okay, cool.
And I could tell immediately when we jumped on here that you had something different going on.
Louder, softer.
Just a different quality of sound.
Tonal quality, better tonal quality, deeper, richer, more high pitched.
I would have to compare it to a previous episode.
No, I was sick and tired of using my Zoom as my audio interface. Because I need something that can handle 2 inputs and outputs. Can you hear Nora real loud? She is singing "It's Raining, It's Pouring,"
but I can hear her.
So I was sick of using the Zoom because I use it for like weddings and videos that I shoot and stuff. And so it's always like taking it off the system, bringing it back, always like unplugging stuff, plugging stuff back in. So when we got the iMac, I was like, I'm just setting up a permanent station. So I bought a Tascam 2x2. So it's plugged in. I have both my mics. They're both plugged in. They're on all the time. I did finger quotes around that in case this makes it to the listeners.
Yeah.
So they're just always plugged in. I'm always ready to go for a podcast now, and I don't have to plug a bunch of stuff in. I just turn the iMac on and I'm ready to go.
It's about time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after the Mac Pro died.
May she rest in peace.
Yeah. May she rest in pieces. All right, bud. Have a great day, Dustin. Thank you so much for sitting down and talking to Ryan with me.
I will see you again tomorrow.
Alrighty, bud. Later.
Bye.
Hey, guys. Real quick at the end here. It's me, Steve. Chaboy. Chaboy. I sound like such a douche. Sorry. I've done this like 8 times now, and I just cannot stop myself from doing that every single time. I'm so sorry. Freedom Edits has reached out to us. They have a special offer just... Sorry. What's up, kid? Yeah, your sister puts lipstick on stuff. Just put it in the wash. She showed me that like 3 hours ago. I really should have cleaned that up. Okay. Oh, I'm a terrible person. Where were we? Freedom Edits is giving a special offer to all of our podcast listeners. If you want to try them out, the first order is on them, absolutely free. Just use reference code Wedding Hangover. That's 2 words on the Getting Started page at freedomedits.com. Terms and conditions do apply. The free order is for new customers only, redeemable off editing services, not culling. Your free order cannot exceed 750 basic edit images. So if anybody out there is looking to try a new editing service out or just wants to see what it's like to outsource stuff, highly recommend them. I mean, Ryan was a blast to have on the podcast, as you all just heard, and it sounds like they're building a really amazing company over there. So that's all. That's it. Peace out. It's Chip Fuckboy saying goodbye. What is wrong with me?
It's all the rage, darling.
Wedding Photo Hangover was edited this week by Steve Van Elk of Bespoke Tone. Go to Bespoke Tone for all of your photo, video, and audio editing needs.